We live in a world that is becoming interconnected. Imagine a tool that connects all your data points so you can visualize in real time, seeing the impact of proposed changes, avoiding costly mistakes, extending your model to design and operational uses. Our vision is to become the leading process digital twin solution for improving the design and operation of complex systems.
Hi everyone, welcome to Inform's Business Analytics 2020. I'm Ronnie Chatterjee, Technical Advisor to the Corporate Vice President at Microsoft Azure Data. I've been with Microsoft a little over 11 years, started my career as a developer, and then moved as a product manager in various products within Microsoft's Azure family. And then right now in my current role as a technical advisor, I offer product and strategic thinking to our Azure data services. In Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We provide this world view by connecting the intelligent edge to the intelligent cloud across a variety of solution areas, right from gaming through your Xbox console in your living room to your modern life to modern workspace using Teams and Office 365. We connect our business applications built on top of Power BI and the Dynamics 365 family, and applications and infrastructure built on top of Azure. The importance of data has been more than ever before, and we are constantly trying to gain the maximum value from the data which is under our management. We provide our customers with a quality engagement across all of these various solution areas, and also providing them with a way on how they could digitally transform themselves and embrace a modern, digitally transformed infrastructure built on top of Azure. Microsoft's point of view is every business is a digital business today. It's no longer about procuring one solution and deploying one. It is about an engagement which happens continuously with our customers. Through our differentiated platforms and solutions, technical know-how, and industry expertise, we help customers accelerate their progress in empowering their employees, engaging with their customers, optimizing operations, and transforming products, and build a better experience for everyone. As Satya says, every organization, every team, and every individual are empowered to do great things because of the data at their fingertips. The importance of data is more than ever before today. In Azure Data, our mission is to deliver the one data platform that empowers the world to make sense of all data anywhere, responsibly, at any scale. We need to make sure that the data is more relevant, it is more accessible, it is intelligent, performant, cost-effective, secure, and compliant, which makes the data explainable and trustworthy. Our customers' world is changing. Customers increasingly seek solutions for not only their technology challenges, but also their transformation into a digital business. Our customers are reinventing what it means to do business, and digital transformation is putting an increasing pressure on them. Right from how to deliver personal, immersive experiences across devices, and also to build infrastructure which allows them to become flexible. They need to constantly connect everything with a hybrid cloud because they have resources which span on-premises as well as in the cloud. And they have to develop and attract digitally first talent. They need to connect employees with real-time customer insights, allowing them to provide agility and innovation across their businesses. They need to respond faster to take on newer opportunities and also to partner on technology decisions between businesses and IT. Our customers are relying on us to speak in their language, unblock their issues, provide them with risk mitigation steps upfront, and helping them in their journey of this digital transformation. Now, when we are speaking with a lot of our customers, there are a couple of data trends we observe when we are in discussions with them. Data sprawl with a variety of data produced by enterprises has been more than ever before. With the growing number of operating systems, data warehouses, various bring your own device type of devices, and enterprise and mobile application, it's no wonder that the proliferation of data is becoming a problem. Data governance is taking a center seat as regulatory actions expand, while data volumes, data sprawl, and data democratization growth continues. Customers require simplification in managing the data estate, including ease of data and app migration across multiple cloud environments. Customers achieve value creation through industry-specific use cases focused on end-to-end solutions, including a convergence of transaction and analytical workloads. There are use cases which require them to gain insights from real-time data and accelerate growth of value creation. Data sharing consortiums are taking off due to improved data governance and privacy capabilities. AI and ML is just enabled everywhere. It has to be baked in, customizable, repeatable, and it fundamentally changes the way customers access insights for decision support. We are also observing that the data user personas shift from data engineers and data scientists to business operators who have access to more data than ever before. A growing community of digital influencers are emerging, such as data scientists, developers in digital labs, and data hybrid, which includes engineers and data scientists who support the next generation of technology decision makers. And everyone thus becomes an analyst in today's world. I'd like to take a moment to discuss about COVID-19 and the impact and the reflections we are seeing from some of our observations while speaking with our customers. As the whole world adapts to COVID, we are focusing on making sure we support our customers and partners through this difficult time. Some of our observation, in addition to the data trends, have been that the data spend remains strong during economic downturns. Customers are seeing the importance of inter-cloud data management, where they have data estates which span on-premises as well as in the cloud. Our customers would rely on us to realize the value of data, and cloud migrations would accelerate as customers would look for vendor consolidation and move to the cloud to reduce TCO. Privacy and governance hold ground in almost all of the data conversations we are having with our customers. And while some industries are growing and some are declining, our customers will rely on us to provide them with the value of the data they have under our management. We need to provide them with analytics to drive their data and provide them with business insights. They are looking at us to provide governance capabilities on the products as they grow. To ensure we are aligned with market and our customers, we have been also connecting closely with industry analysts and experts. Our observation on organizational risk challenges has been drawn in part from a fantastic paper written by McKinsey. Organizational optimization yields effectiveness gains by clarifying responsibilities, increasing accountability, and matching talent to jobs. Most of our customers have invested in risk management teams within their organization. Providing this team with appropriate tools and processes to do their best job possible is the goal we have. We need to provide our customers with an ability to handle and mitigate risks for their own businesses. The other area which we see is how we provide them to rationalize governance and streamlining certain processes within their organization. The importance of governance and having a governance-based framework is more important than ever before. We observe that from law and regulatory rules all around the world. GDPR was one such example. So providing with the governance-based framework, allowing organizations to make their own governance decisions is very important for every business. Now, we do all of that by providing a digitization and capability for organizations to deploy advanced analytics. Now, this digitization framework not only provides customers with a way to modernize their entire business, but also gives them an opportunity to redesign certain processes, allowing them to impact both risk management effectiveness and efficiency. Appropriately automating certain processes will make less errors and also make less costlier for the businesses. And perhaps more important is digitization allows customers to embed automated real-time risk controls within their core processes. This would reduce them to control failures and make far more efficient use of their resources. Now, one of the things in order for us to evaluate risk is also to look at certain scenarios. Now, scenario analysis helps us to assess the risk to your business based on known factors from historical views. Every person at Microsoft is empowered to make decisions and choices for their own businesses. Now, we all constantly do that by actually doing scenario-based analysis ourselves. Now, the way we measure this risk for any decision we take based on for a particular scenario is by actually looking at that scenario and measuring its impact, probability, and mitigation. So the way the risk priority number, RPN, is calculated is by multiplying impact of the risk, the probability of it to occur, and the mitigation steps you have in place. Now let's take for a moment an example. So say you have 3 scenarios where you have a loss of a server on Azure, you have a loss of a network provider, or you have a misconfiguration. Now the impact of risk is something which we have to measure. We have to measure, okay, what is the risk if you lose, if a server gets lost? And these are just rough numbers provided in this slide just to give an idea. Then you actually multiply it by the probability and the mitigation in place. The loss of a server, the mitigation in place scale is sort of in the reverse way. So if you have mitigation in place for effectively identifying the loss of a server, then it is on a scale of 1 to 10, the lowest number provided. So you actually have a lot of processes to mitigate that particular error. So if you multiply all of this, the RPN of loss of a server is 48. But you can see that for the other ones, the misconfiguration RPN is the highest as measured. Now, when you are doing a risk priority analysis for this particular scenario, you would say that the misconfiguration has the highest RPN. So the risk priority number for that particular scenario is the highest compared to these 3. Now, one scenario can have multiple, one broad scenario can have multiple smaller sub-scenarios within that, and each sub-scenario can have an RPN associated with it. And then you do a cumulative RPN calculation, which actually gives you the risk priority number of the overall feature you're trying to deliver. Now, this analysis constantly gives you an understanding and also looking at the data on what is the best way to mitigate this risk compared to the telemetry and other signals which you may observe. Now, one of the things we are going to focus on is how digitization and deploying advanced analytics can help in these particular scenarios. Now, digitization allows you to actually combine data from various different data sources. If you want to actually provide the best advanced analytics to detect your risk, you need to actually collect the data from various different data sources. These data sources sometimes will be internal, sometimes it will be external, sometimes it will be determined by a lot of social factors which you may see. We also see a lot of log data, graph data, telemetry data, based upon which we can identify the patterns in which users might be using a particular service. Now, providing the risk estimate and reporting accuracy of that risk is very crucial depending upon the business you're in. If you want to detect a fraudulent activity, which might cause your entire system to go down, you need to make sure that you identify the risk in almost near real time. Because the moment something happens, the cost to mitigate that risk becomes considerably higher. Now, statistical and machine learning models for risk analysis using published models have been out there for a long time. Now, the question is, most of this analysis also has to be in near real time. It has to take into consideration of the data which is subject for this risk to be analyzed for. And the importance of continuous intelligence based on streaming-based analytics and data is so upcoming and is so emerging right now. We constantly observe that our customers and our users are planning to actually leverage the digital feedback loop, which will allow them to take benefit of machine learning and advanced analytics for their business-based scenarios. Now let's take an example of a fraud detection in a bank. Bank. If you can imagine, there are a lot of collection of data sources. You can have data from your credit card, your checking account, your online banking, including logs, ATM logs, identity information, employee access logs. Now, all of this data typically flows from various disparate data systems. You can have data either in on-premises data stores, like in a traditional relational data store, like a SQL Server or an Oracle data store. And then you can have some logs which flow into from different subsystems. And then you have identity flowing in. Then you have social data flowing in from either, say, LinkedIn or Twitter. And all of that data goes into a centralized place where the data needs to be aggregated. And that is the place which is typically a data lake where the data is getting stored. Now, once that data, all of this data goes into the data lake, the amount of data which gets stored gets considerably higher, right? And now you want to build real-time machine learning on top of that data. And this is a very typical flow for just doing some real-time analytics to detect some fraudulent activity. And the data which you are actually ingesting can be both structured data as well as unstructured data. So it's not necessarily that you're going to use a single processing engine to process all of this data. You can use database engines like SQL to process the structured data, or you can use engines like Spark to process the unstructured data. Now, once you build the machine learning model, you typically deploy that machine learning model into your production system to give you the detection of that fraud. Now, this is basically a scenario for a batch level analytics, which is predominantly used. Now, there might be scenarios where the data has to be processed in near real time. Like all of the data which is happening in a time slice window needs to be processed, and you need to provide analytics on that stream of incoming data. And that is where we are seeing that continuous intelligence and streaming-based analytics to take a new form and shape, where not necessarily you're going to make the decisions all from the data which gets stored inside the data lake, but as the data gets ingested inside the data lake, you're going to make some real-time analytical decisions on just that ingested data. So that is pretty much the way we are thinking of how we provide this real-time analytical capabilities for our users across different domains, for allowing them to prevent risk upfront. And you can also start with providing off-the-bat analytical models which we can provide, or allowing the preloaded models to be deployed in the pipeline upfront, for allowing the incoming data to look at that model and then provide the recommendations immediately. So there are various ways of how typically risk-based analytics can be done, both in terms of a batch processing and both in terms of a real-time streaming-based. Now, risk teams typically in an organization are empowered with handling with a lot of data. Now they need to use these tools effectively, and most of these analytical tools, depending upon their usage, can be both open source, or they can use a collection of analytic tools which are provided by one of the cloud providers. Now, the thing is, as soon as they adopt towards these analytical tools, they need to incorporate these data sets which they are trying to analyze quickly and securely. And that is where the enterprise-grade machine learning and the importance of how we actually process this data securely becomes so important. Typically, what happens is data scientists take a portion of the data from their production system, copy it down locally inside their laptop, and at that point, they just violated the secure premises of where the data should have been. Now, this might seem to be quite normal, but actually, depending upon the sensitivity of the data, we need to provide customers and users a capability to do enterprise machine learning, where the machine learning happens in the context of the analytical engine itself. It happens in a secure boundary where every metadata and every data asset is tagged properly. You know who is accessing the data, at what point, at what time, and also providing with that lineage information to actually understand the effect of the data on other subsequent systems. Now, we mentioned briefly about how we can select the data in real time or near real time. And depending upon the use cases, for identifying risk, the more it is towards your real-time analytics, the more better it is for the organization to be prepared for mitigating that risk. Now, real-time analytics is very different from batch analytics where the continuous intelligence and the digital feedback loop is involved. So streaming-based applications are taking a sort of central role in how we provide that information back to our customers and our users. Now, once we actually cover the analytics part, the thing is the security control of access to the data, including the data sets, who gets access to what, and data governance and data privacy and security and policies are important on every level of the data. Now, controlled access is required because you don't want every user to have access to all the data. Now, how you maintain that policy, especially across multiple different data sources, spanning across multiple infrastructures, both on premises and the cloud, is super critical and is super important for businesses. And obviously, modeling and analytics is, once you build it, it has to be consumed in an easy, streamlined manner for also consumption purposes. Now, having that same analytical capability and modeling functionality provided on top of the data is important in terms of a reporting-based solution, whether you're using Power BI or some sort of a reporting to actually report the fraudulent activity or the risk behavior you observe on that particular data is super critical. The other area which we are sort of seeing taking off is an area of explainable AI, right? Like, so depending upon the machine learning model and depending upon the decision you're taking on a particular data, how do you know that this model can explain the decision it took depending upon the data it observed? And that is where we're seeing that how we make sure that every model which is being deployed in production, that model can be tracked, the model performance can be tracked, the model outcome can be tracked, is so very important. And also the capability to deploy these models in various different target solutions, whether it be on the edge as a small device or in an ATM machine or all the way into a sensor device, is critical. So once we build the analytical models in some sort of like an analytical system, that simple model might have different target surface areas where it is deployed to. It can be deployed on the edge, or it can be deployed all the way inside the cloud as well and exposed as a RESTful web service. So the way the models are consumed for analytical purposes, for risk-based analysis, is also super critical depending upon the business scenario we're trying to solve. Now, moving ahead in Azure and Azure Data, what does this mean from our customers who want to do risk-based analytics on top of our services and our products? And I'll try to take a quick preview of our journey in the next 18 months as we have planned, and some of the capabilities and functionalities which we are planning to roll out into our feature offerings for our customers. When we look at customers' data estate, we look at data in various different data sources. You have data in your SaaS-based applications, which can be, say, a SAP HANA or a Workday or Salesforce. You can have data in social media, like a Facebook or a Twitter. You can have data coming from edge devices, like Intel or ARM64-based devices. You can even have data in other cloud providers, like AWS or Google Cloud or Ali Cloud. Then the data can obviously exist in mainframe systems like an IBM DB2, or in other operational stores like a Teradata or Oracle or Cassandra or a MongoDB instance. And then you might also already have analytics-based engines like Databricks or Cloudera or SAS. Now, if you look at this plethora of data sources, building a risk-based analytics around this can be challenging from a user's perspective. And all of these data sources typically span both two infrastructure. One is the on-prem infrastructure, and one is obviously, if we have if the decision has been to move to the cloud, is in Azure in terms of that operational stores. Now, inside Azure Data, we have, in our on-premises, we have our flagship SQL Server as our product offering. SQL Server has been an industry-leading product in the on-prem market for over last 25 plus years. It has been the product which which is capable of running queries as part of the TPCH benchmark. We publish our benchmark query results, and the operational stores and the surface area of SQL Server, both in the cloud, is manifested through our Azure SQL offerings. Now, the same engine, as I had mentioned earlier in the presentation, that our journey is all about the intelligent edge to the intelligent cloud. And so our SQL Server surface area has also expanded into edge-based offerings manifested in Azure SQL Database Edge, which is a low memory footprint SQL Server engine running on, say, Raspberry Pi devices, or in your sensors in your warehouse, which would actually detect real-time information and collect that information. And also having all the asset-based compliance and relational database capabilities. In our operational stores on the cloud, we also have Azure Cosmos DB, which is our NoSQL data store. So if you have data which you need to query, which would be in JSON-based format, where you want to have a lot of unstructured data which is getting processed, Cosmos DB would be your operational data store to store that data. In Azure and in Azure Data, our commitment to open source has been more than ever before. So if you have data which is stored in terms of in existing PostgreSQL servers on premises, you can move that data seamlessly into our managed service offerings in the cloud as well. So that spans across MySQL and MariaDB, as well as our other OSS databases of choice. So across our data estate, both from an on-premises and from the cloud side, we have an ability to manage that data estate from both of these surface areas. And in our on-premises, we have Azure Data Studio, which is our flagship product for connecting and on the products from the various surface area, whether you're connecting from in any cloud-based data store or in an on-prem data store. Azure Data Studio is an open source client application which lets you connect to your data store for your client-based experience. Now, in the analytics side, in the cloud, we recently launched Azure Synapse Analytics. That is a single product which provides you with unified analytics, which lets you ingest, prep, model serve, visualize the tool, visualize the data all inside a single tool. Now, Azure Synapse Studio provides users with a unified experiences built end-to-end for cloud scale analytics. You can actually seamlessly connect Synapse with your either SaaS-based applications which you already have, and Synapse Analytics comes with Azure Data Factory, which lets you, as a pipeline, ingest data from various of these different data sources inside the Synapse family. So you can have a data lake which you have created, where Synapse will let you ingest the data through the Data Factory from over 100 different data sources inside Synapse natively. Now, Synapse provides you with a native SQL DW capabilities, like a data warehouse capability, so you can actually store multiple petabyte scale data inside Synapse. Synapse also provides you with Spark, which is one of the best data processing engine over unstructured data. So if you have streaming scenarios where you would like to stream data inside Synapse, you can take advantage of the Spark-based engine. Synapse is integrated with Azure Machine Learning, so for your machine learning based analytical workload. So if you are planning to build a risk model on the data which you sort of ingest from all of these plethora of different data sources, you can actually ingest this data inside the data lake. Then you use Spark to actually build your machine learning model, or you use Azure Machine Learning with AutoML, which automatically suggests what machine learning model to use depending upon the data you ingest. And then you can actually host that model inside Synapse, and you can have your incoming data refer that model to show you a Power BI visualization where you can detect the risk your business is, the risk you're trying to evaluate, or any other analytic-based decisions you would need to take on top of your data. Now, Synapse is also very closely integrated with other data services. We are working on that journey, and recently at Build, you have heard about our native integration with Cosmos DB. So Cosmos DB integration with Synapse provides you with a capability of where you can have the data stored in Cosmos DB, but you can seamlessly use Synapse to analyze that data and provide you with analytics over that data stored in Cosmos DB. Now, that is the cloud scale analytics provided through Synapse as a single offering which we have. One of the things which I had mentioned earlier is our customers are looking at a multi-cloud capability. Their operational stores no longer just reside in a single cloud. They have operational stores which actually span multiple clouds. They also have their data stores which span both from on-premises as well as in Azure, as well as in even competitive multiple other cloud providers as well. And one of the things we have recently announced is something called Azure Arc. And Azure Arc provides you with that simplified management of the data estate by extending Azure capabilities on premises even to other clouds through your Azure Arc capability. Now, imagine for a situation you're trying to build a risk analytics based machine learning model where you need to deploy that model depending upon the infrastructure either on premises or in the cloud, or even into competitive cloud. Now you could actually build that model in a single place, and then you deploy it across these different management planes, and Azure Arc will let you control that. So Azure Arc is our story for a simplified management of the data estate, spanning both on premises as well as in Azure, and providing with customers with the flexibility of choice of whether of the true hybrid environment as as can be envisioned, right? And so right now on Azure Arc, we have the offering for Azure SQL Database Managed Instance and Postgres Hyperscale capability. And each of these data estates are built on top of Kubernetes, which is basically that infrastructure. And Kubernetes, the benefits of Kubernetes is it lets you scale, and it provides an operational flexibility for our businesses. So building on top of Kubernetes allows customers to providing them with that elastic scalability. So if customers want to actually know that they are going to have more usage, they can actually scale up and scale down the resources accordingly, and this would provide them with optimal cost benefit and optimizations as well. So the inside for multi-cloud. Now one of the things we also provide is providing value from the unstructured data which our users are ingesting, and not just unstructured data, from any data which we are ingesting inside the data platform. And we have cognitive search, which provides that unique capability for our products and services. Now, let's take for example, right? So say you have a lot of image data which is coming and ingested into your products and services. Now, inside that images, you might have text which is embedded in that image. If you had to actually extract the text, you would have to either write up a neural net model to actually detect that. But with cognitive services, what we have done is we have provided with a fully managed service which lets you extract that information from this unstructured data very easily. It also provides you with the metadata information which is extracted from all of these various different types of data, and then you can easily build a catalog or a repository of information over this unstructured data. So cognitive search provides you with that capability of providing contextual sense making on top of the data, on top of our data services. Important things which we have, which we are seeing, and even with COVID we are observing, is for our customers to easily modernize their application and data estate. And Azure Migrate actually provides you with that seamless migration capability for migrating from your on-premises to Azure. So if you have cloud resources on-premises where you would like to move them to Azure, Azure Migrate is our preferred choice, which allows you to provide with that flexibility. It's a fully managed service. It does the data estate discovery. It also provides you with the TCO optimization benefits you would get from migrating to Azure, and also doing the migration through one of our many programs which we also have within Azure, within our Azure data service. Interesting areas which we talk about risk management with our customers is in the area of data governance. We discussed about this earlier in the presentation, and we can see that the data governance is an area which would provide customers with an ability to govern their entire data estate by providing them with a capability of setting right policies for the right person to have access to the right information, and all at the right time. And as you all know, that for risk, everything is all about the timing. The time to detect the risk, time to detect what were the policies in place, time to detect who were the persons involved, and providing that capability to for organizations is super critical and important for us. So data governance is one of the very critical areas which we are absolutely investing in from our roadmap and our vision, and which we plan to share more in the upcoming future. Now with this slide, I'll also try to take a moment to actually explain what we just discussed. Altogether, this is a story of our Azure Data Platform, a story of sort of like the end-to-end thinking which happens across systems for sense making and decision making. A story which spans and provides the simplicity in managing the sprawl of the data estate and all of the underlying data stores which manage it. and the story of unified governance, where every data may be and all of that with all of the available partners we work very closely with. So we work closely with Databricks, Informatica, Cloudera, StreamSets, SAS, and this is just a subset of the list of customers whom we engage with. And making sure that all of the customers of our partners also have a very streamlined experience on top of our Azure data services is important for us. We need to make sure that we provide them with as a simple, seamless experience on all of the data under our management. So the way we are partnering with these few of these examples have been exemplary, and we are going to partner more with other providers as well. So so this is pretty much our entire data platform as we see in the horizon in the next 18 months. So thank you everyone for joining today. I hope everybody is staying safe in this pandemic and this tough times, and hope you all stay safe, and looking forward for the next Inform Business Analytics Conference. Hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of the conference, and would be willing to take any questions which you may have from the presentation today. Thank you.